All right, people. In about 2 minutes, we're going to start. Just going to let everybody settle down. And this is going to be a good one today. Hey, Sam. How are you? All right, Brian is over here. David is here. How's everybody hearing me? Everything good? Sam says he had a heat wave today, 39. That is funny. Yeah, the weather has been absolutely terrible. Okay, Dave, thanks for letting me know that it's warming up. All right, so let's get the party started, right? Today is going to be an interesting live stream because we have a very cool guest, Raphael Biagini, our Frenchman that is part of our team. It will be here to discuss interesting topics. And given his experience and expertise, especially in specimen angling, targeting those massive trophy fish, I think it will be very cool to listen to him and ask him some interesting questions related to fishing here in the US. But a little bit of housekeeping for today. We're going to have a very cool giveaway this live stream. We have straight from Italy, from Trabucco. We ordered some samples and we ordered number of reels, carp reels, and they just arrived. So I wanted to show you that because that's going to be today's giveaway. At some point we're going to do it, and it's going to be the style that we've always done, which is pick a number between 1 and 1,000, and whoever hits it the closest will win without going over the number. So if the winning number will be 500 and somebody has 499 and the other person has 501, the 499 will win. Okay? So that's how we're going to do this. Anybody going that's going to stick around, we're going to make it really worthwhile. Here it is. I'm going to show you the reel. Look at this beauty. So this is what we're going to raffle off today. Okay. I'm sorry, the camera trying to catch focus over here properly. Okay. Absolute beauty. Size 10,000. I actually like it how loud the click is on this one. So this is what we're going to raffle off today. Give away for free. And we will ship it to you for free as well. 10,000. This is K-Carp VX 10,000. It takes, this is a big spool, 0.35 line. It takes 530 meters. So this is definitely something that we can use on big rivers and lakes. Okay? So that's coming later today. And, excuse me, it also comes with a spur spool. Johnny says 776. Wait, we're going to do this. We're going to do this in a little while. Not yet, but we will definitely give it away today. So that's the carp reel that we're giving away. Everybody keep in mind that we released the new baits a couple of weeks ago, and they are going like crazy. We got the first reviews trickling in from people who have already used it, and they are nothing short of amazing. So the new baits, I mean, we knew this because we tested this for a long time before we released it, but take a look at them. And I'm telling you, they are an absolute fish magnet. The Carp Angler boilies that we released recently, 11 different flavors. Nick says, beautiful, love the all metal spool and handle. Yeah, you know what? It looks like those old school reels that are just solid made. You know what I mean? Brian is asking, how much are they? We're talking about boilies. If you're talking about boilies, then the ones that we released start at $10.95 per kilo. Not per pound, but per 2.2 pounds. I'm going to drop a link for you to the baits. There, I just did it. So the baits are starting at $10.95 per bag, and the bag is 1 kilo, 2.2 pounds. We have some more expensive ones as well, but nothing crazy. We have a range that is $13.95 and a range that is at $16.95. So definitely take a look. Can Leo stop winning? I think Jamie is asking if Pro Stuff can win it too. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody who hits the number who is watching can win it. Absolutely. Sam is asking, select front drag? Yes, that's a front drag reel, the one that we are raffling off today. Yes. Front drag, absolutely. Not a bait runner. Front drag. So this is going to somebody's home today. One more thing that I wanted to show you, because we started getting some custom rods from Harrison. And Harrison Torix, being practically the best selling and I think the best model overall, was the first one that we decided to make custom, and I have one with me. So I don't know how much you're going to be able to see it, but it's already on our website. And I wanted to show you this before I put it back in the store. It is freaking amazing. Okay? Look at that reel seat that I picked for it. It's Alps reel seat that I put on it. And those are going to be now sold at carpangler.com really by default. This is going to be the new design. We went away with the cheaper reel seat and a slightly different build. And that's what it's going to be right now. So again, I don't know how much you can see the reel seat, but it's an absolute skeletal design that takes away some precious grams from the total weight. And I mean, the build of it, I mean, it's phenomenal. I'm going to drop you a link to this. So right now, we have it in the store, ready to ship in 12-foot 3.5 test curve. Well, let me grab this. And I'm going to drop you the link. James Sanders, brother, how are you? Welcome to the live stream. I dropped you a link, guys, to that custom-made Harrison rod. Not really much more expensive at all. I think the price went up by $50 or less than that. Jason Jason says that the rod and reel are better than his Zebco 606. Hey, nothing bad to say about Zebco. I think everybody used them at some point, right? So take a look at those. I'm going to release additional video for those custom rods. I've made the video already. I was just waiting for the pictures to come back and basically post those as well. But I think it's going to happen after the weekend. Johnny is asking, what about the 10-footer? Yes, all of them. If you want those in a 10-foot, I'll order you those in a 10-foot. It's going to take at the moment about 3-4 weeks until you can get them, but I can get you those in a 10-foot as well. Torexes are absolutely beautiful. I've used them for several years. It's a workhorse. I mean, that's really what it is. I love them. So yes, reach out to me privately. I'll get you the 10-footers as well. All right, so let's talk about our guest. Raphael is going to be joining me in a moment. I'll bring them on. And we're going to talk about very interesting topics. And as far as people with pedigree that we can talk to, that can shed some light or maybe a new perspective on anything carp fishing, really, I think he is the most accredited based on his catches, right? He not only caught some of the biggest fish in France, but also in the United States. And we're going to talk about this. But the man is an absolute fish magnet, if we can put it that way. And I cannot wait to ask him some questions. So let me see if he is available. And I'm going to bring him in. Raphael, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Hey, Raphael, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. And you?
Very well. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for connecting. So I gave you an intro that I could best describe, basically calling you a fish magnet, and I think that is very true, especially the few times that we fished together and also with Todd. We all know that you have a very special way about the fish. I'm going to have a couple of specific questions for you because I think everybody is dying to hear from somebody with that much pedigree, about what your thought process is about fishing and going after that big, massive carp. If interesting questions come up in the meantime, I'm going to post them on the screen. So pardon the interruption if any is to come, but I will try my best. So everybody, welcome Raphael to the show. Raphael, thank you for being with us. I'm going to jump straight to it, and I want to pose the first question for you. The big fish pattern question. You've got giants in both France and US. What's the biggest difference, if there is any, in how you locate those truly big carp between those European waters where you fished in the past and the American lakes and rivers, like the ones, for example, we fished together in Connecticut at the Lake Lily? How do you do this?
Well, so it's easy and complex. It's both at the same time. I come from south of France, right? The first things people need to know is that I do remember a few years ago, I saw someone who did estimate the carp angler population in the US to be around 50,000 anglers. I don't know if the number is exact, But I will use that as a base because it's the data that I have, right? The data that I have. Sorry, you will slowly adjust to my accent. Don't worry, it takes 2 minutes. So, but don't worry, at the end, you will understand everything.
We will
In
put
France,
subtitles at the end.
yeah, in France, for example, which is a country that is kind of a little bit bigger than New York State, I think we are 400,000, right? So the ratio is
That
not the same.
that many.
Yep. Yeah. 400,000 with because when we take our fishing license, we count all of that. So what happens is that first things first, in France, the information goes faster than in the US. More anglers, more people, more discussions, more, So that's the first thing that gives more information. The second stuff is I come from south of France, and in south of France there is a nice population of big fish originally. So knowing that there is a lot of big fish in south of France, plus the fact that a lot of informations are moving, and of course it gives you a perspective that you cannot have in the US, right? It's not like if you go blind. I know that if I pick up 15 lakes in south of France, some of them will have some big ones inside. We don't talk about giants, we don't talk about monsters, but if you talk about 40 plus, between 40 and 50, you will find that. In big proportion, but a few. You know what I
So
mean?
40 pounds is
Yeah.
considered in US like the gold standard, I think, for a trophy fish. Is it different in France, really, just because you have more opportunities with more bigger fish, or is the 40 pounder looked at similarly like in the United States?
So that's what is funny, is that in reality, when I started to fish for carp, when I really started to fish for carp, meaning when I had my car, everything, not when I started to love uh, carp fishing. When I really started to fish for carp, it was kind of 1998. So it's 28 years ago. Yeah, 28 years ago. We didn't have much data in France because it was the second wave of people who love fishing for carp. I do believe that in the US, it's kind of the first wave still. You know what I mean? So there is many rivers in south of France where a real big fish will be, let's say you catch a 35 pounds, it's really a big guy. If you catch a 40, it's probably the biggest fish for a long part of the river. You know what I mean? It was
Okay.
really made like, so when I started to fish for carp, I really had to research a lot. I fished many places, and what I did is everything is about statistics in reality. It's very easy. If you fish somewhere, you find, let's say, a river, a lake, whatever, you start fishing. And the 10 first fish that you catch are all between 8 and 15 pounds. Okay. That gives you an indication. Maybe you're lucky, maybe you're not lucky, I don't know. You come a second time. You start fishing again, you catch 10 more fish. The 10 more fish that you catch are all between 12 and 18 pounds. Okay. You come back a third time. The third time you come, you catch 10 fish, everything between 8 and 18 pounds. But you understand that you are not dealing with a big population. You are dealing with carp that are mainly um, between 8 and, let's say, 20 pounds. So if you have a population of carp like that in front of you, if you start dreaming about catching a 50 pounds, when you are not even able to catch 25 pounders in the middle, then you are not realistic. You live in a dream. You live in something that will not happen. I don't say that you don't have one fish that is 40 pounders in the middle, because you have exceptions everywhere, and there is no you know what I mean? Nothing is
Statistically
square.
speaking, you have a very low chance of catching something
Yeah,
massive.
absolutely.
That, like you said, there are always outliers and exceptions. But if you want to put
Yes,
yourself in a best position, then that's probably not the spot to catch the trophy
absolutely.
fish like that.
It's all about statistics. When we fish together in Connecticut, for example, you know that most of the fish that you are going to catch are between 25 and 32 pounds, right? So it means that when you go a little bit above 32 pounds, you're already at 35, 37, 38, and you're a little bit above. So you know that the exception will be 45, 50, 52, 55, something that is really different, but proportionally, you know what I mean? It's all about statistics. Where we fish together in Connecticut, you have the same probability to catch 8 pounders than the 38 pounders. You know what I mean? Because the average is 25 to 32. You know, kind of.
So let me ask you a question, because remember when we fished at the lake house in Connecticut, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was right before the state record got broken twice, right?
Yep.
So on average over there,
Mm-hmm.
I told you that 30 pounds is nothing extraordinary over there. There
Mm-hmm.
are a lot of fish between 32 and 39 pounds,
Okay.
with so many of them just half a pound, pound and a half under 40 pounds,
Mm-hmm.
that I have concluded at some point, and let me know what you think about this, that genetically speaking, for that portion of the lake, or that lake in general, though it is very massive lake, I think it's about 11 miles long, that this is genetically where they max out, I think, the 37, 39 pounds. That's the reason why I caught so many almost 40s, but only a handful of 40s. So statistically speaking, it's just disproportionate amount of upper 30s, but not quite 40s. So is it genetics, or is it
Yeah.
something else?
Yeah. It's probably what it is. The race, the generations, the genetic and the race of the fish is probably made like that. After, it's like all the humans. Look, if you take all the humans, you will always have somewhere a guy that is 6.4, that is 280 pounds, 350 pounds. It's not the average of who we are, but that exists, you know. And the same, you will have people that are extremely small, extremely skinny. Uh, that's what it is, and that's what you are looking for. So if the lake house has a big population of carps, let's say between 32 and 39, it means that now after you have some probabilities to catch something between 42 and whatever it is. Let's not be too crazy. Let's say 60. I'm sure that the whole lake hides many fish at 45, 48, 49, but they are kind of the exceptions. There is one that is here, one that is here, maybe two, three that are together somewhere. Maybe they don't eat the bait that you offer them on top of it because there is not enough pressure on the lake. If you had anglers fishing there every day, let's imagine the same lake in France. Same lake in France means that you will have every week from January to January at least 10, 15 teams fishing for 1 week, day and night, baiting like a crazy with bodies. And so you can imagine that at the beginning, you will have some kind of results, and more and more with the biggest amount of bodies, the amount of bodies increasing, the fish being more and more familiar with the bodies, you are going to start to have new fish. You are going to change the way the fish reacts. You are going to discover a lot. And I do believe that the lake where we fished at the lake house, there is no pressure, there is no experience. They know a few bodies, they eat them, but we are far away from a system. You know what I mean?
So this brings me to the second question, right? So you're targeting that big fish.
Mm-hmm.
With all things being equal, are you going for that high nutrition boilies year round, or do you adjust with some particles, tiger nuts, maybe in cold water? Like, how do you adapt for those American waters where carp sees, like you said, less boilies? How do you adapt for it, and what type of bait do you choose?
Okay, so here I have a, unfortunately for the people who are following us, I have a kind of weird answer, and I will tell you why. Being in the US, I don't have much time, right? So, not having much time, it means that I need to catch a fish quickly, fast. Most of the time, I go fishing for 1 day only. I don't even spend the night. And I need to have some action. I'm not here to just take my rods, put them in the fresh air, and bring them back home. So I use a lot of particles in the US, right? Because I need a fast action. I know that there is some water around of me that are not too bad, where there is a couple of fish that are nice. The average is not too bad. So to go back to the first question, it means that there is a probability to find something bigger. It's statistics, always the same. But I don't have the time to put something in place. If I was able to go fishing for 3, 4, 5 days in the US, I would use bodies. I will only fish with bodies because there is no secret. Bodies is what's best to catch big carp. With one exception. The only exception I know is if you fish a place that has a very high average. If the average is very high, then the only thing you want is to have as much action as possible. Then you will use particles because fish being big by definition, with the particles you are going to catch more of them because it's what is in front of you. But if you fish a place with a regular population, meaning that you have a very big amount of fish between 10 and 20 pounds, less fish between 20 and 30, even less between 30 and 35, even less between. Then if you fish something that we call pyramidal, I don't know if you can understand that in English, maybe a French word.
I do, but explain it for our viewers. You're talking about the size of the bait, how it relates to the size of the.
Not exactly. What I talk about is when you take a lake, there is a population of fish inside, right?
Okay, I think I know where you're going.
So in the population, you have one very, very big. It's an example. You have 3 that are big. You have 20 that are not bad. You have 100 that are kind of mid-size. And you have 500 that are smaller. It's what we call a pyramid population in France. I guess in the US you can see the same.
Probably the same.
Right? So when you have a population like that, you need to fish with bollies because that's what most of the time is going to bring you, maybe not the biggest fish, but will give you an access to the top of the pyramid where the biggest are, whatever they are, you know? And as I said, the only situation where it doesn't work like that, it's where the whole population is big. There are some places where the smallest fish is 35 pounds and the biggest one is 50. So here, you know that whatever you catch will be 35 at a minimum. So here you don't need to fish with bollies. You want something where you get a lot of bites.
So let me bring this question before it disappears from me from Jason. This is interesting. I have fished a lake for 5 years and seen the average size of fish go up from year to year. Do you believe a lake can have a growth cycle and a decline cycle?
I'm not really aware of that. I've never really seen that. It's every place is where I fished. It's not exactly true. I saw some places where the population become bigger, but usually it's because we find it. Nobody never fished inside. We catch a couple of big fish, and then from there you have anglers that stay there for weeks fishing with bollies. So the fish become more and more fat. You know what I mean? Because through the years, they eat bollies a lot and there is people feeding them all the time. That's the only situation I know that function like that. Or the second possibility is that you fish a place and, you know, every fishing federation, they take care of their lakes and stuff. And every year they put some fish inside. But, you know, they put trouts, they put roaches, they put whatever, they put carp, bass, whatever inside. And maybe they put a generation of fish which is different with a different genetic. And the next generation is capable to grow way more than the first generation. Otherwise, I don't believe that there is a cycle like that. I think that whatever is inside is what...
So my personal take is that in order for there to be a cycle, there has to be some external factor, right? Some of them that you mentioned, either a new fish was stocked that maybe grows faster. Maybe suddenly the source of food was changed, whether artificially or naturally, right? Maybe based on the type of seasons that we've had, whether it was a long winter, short winter, how the insects were hatching in a particular year, environmental factors, basically. I think they can change that, but there has to be, obviously, it's not something that genetically automatically will happen. This is something that has to be attributable to external factors. Whether they're natural or man-made, that's a different story. Maybe suddenly you will see maybe the DEC stocks a good population of pikes, muskies, that will, let's say, weed out the smallest of the carp, and the median size suddenly will go up, right?
I don't know. You know, in France, we have a catfish, catfish, so some of them are capable to eat 20 pounds carps, you know? So and even that doesn't change the average and the size, and the genetic is the genetic, you know?
Here is something, talking about fish foods and baits, that I want to talk about. Look at this comment, everybody. The problem I encounter, David says, with boilies is most of our fish don't recognize them as food. Introducing enough of them to be effective, for me at least, has been cost prohibitive as well. But I fish on a massive reservoir. My question to you is what you think. My take on it is I don't think it matters whether the fish have seen a boilie before or not, because think about it in the United States. Most of the fish that we catch, let's say hypothetically speaking, on Connecticut River, right, which has a massive population of carp, especially the so-called dinks, but it has some decent trophy-sized fish as well. Most of them have never seen a boilie when they were caught on one. That right there tells me that the fish are usually caught for the first time ever on a boilie. I fished that Connecticut River for years. So I'm not subscribing to the idea that the fish has to be necessarily familiar with it. Not carp. Carp are too opportunistic. And I think if they see it, they will explore it unless they get spooked by it for one reason or another. Could be the color, could be something else. I think they will go for it and explore it by putting it in their mouth. Thoughts?
Let me jump in the discussion here. I have a vision a little bit different, and I will tell you it's a weird topic because there are some places where boilies are accepted right away without being introduced. Never ever. Like you say, Connecticut River, you can catch plenty of carps on boilies in the Connecticut River. The same, the lake house. Plenty of places where you put the boilies, they see it for the first time, and boom, they eat it. The more you fish with them, the more you get bites because they lose their stress and it becomes more a habit, but they eat boilies right away. There is also places where they don't want the boilies. Whatever you do, you don't catch anything. And I will give you an example that is funny. Let's say I fish the Hackensack River. It's a small river in New Jersey. I pre-baited with boilies. I fish inside with boilies. I caught one bite every 12 hours average on boilies. Anywhere I go in this river on corn, if they're in front of me, I catch 30 fish during the day. But I put a boilie, nothing anymore. The lake, there is a lake where I did catch a lot of very big fish on Long Island that doesn't exist anymore, unfortunately. Maybe I had 2-3 bites on the boilies. Never. Impossible to catch a fish on the boilies. And there is a big population of carp, and they are big. A lot of fish between 20 and 40 pounds.
What do you think the reason for that was over there?
I have no idea. And there is many places everywhere. It's like that everywhere. When I was fishing in France, was the same concept. A lot of places like that. There's places you come, you fish with boilies. The first night you have 5-6 bites. The fish doesn't know them, and that's what it is. You fish with boilies, and it's easy and it's cool. And there's other places you fish with boilies and you never get a bite. You switch with a piece of corn and it's non-stop. You just don't want it. They need time. I don't know. I've seen that.
My take is also, I'm just, theorizing over here. When you're fishing on a river that has a large, huge population of carp, that carp is going to be fighting for food. So I think when something is introduced, let's say new, boilie, I think there will be no second guessing between the fish because they have to compete for the food. It's all going to be, I think, sometimes relative to how much natural food is available in the particular river or whatever it is, and what's the population of carp. Maybe in a spot where, although this contradicts the lake house because think about it. So I get that spot a few years ago, and I'm technically the very first person to fish in that section of the river. Mm-hmm. Not to be confused with the other lake house that was fishing a mile away for several years. And so I'm technically the first person that fishes for carp over there. And I start with the boilies, and the bites are coming. And the abundance of natural food over there is stupendous. And yet the boilies are working. So now I'm thinking that, well, maybe my theory about the amount of food and the stock of the lake is not exactly that good. It gets really interesting. Lake house work with the boilies right away, and the fish have never seen it before.
Yeah, I tell you, it's something 20 years ago, I asked myself those questions and I understood that I will not find any answer anyway. So what I do is I fish with whatever works, and that's it, and I move on.
Well, so
You
speaking of, so let's talk about it. So you, let's say here is a scenario. You
know?
have 1 week on a new lake, no
Okay.
prior information at all.
hmm
What's your step-by-step approach to finding and catching, trying to catch a 40-pound carp? Mapping, baiting amounts, how many reps, everything. How are you approaching this, but targeting the biggest fish, let's say, that there is?
Okay. Okay. So if I have no information at all, I will try two rods with bollies, one rod with corn. It's what I do. It's I will have two rods where I will try to build a strategy somewhere when I will try to imagine that the things works like that. They come from there, they will move from here to here, blah 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 blah. Something that is kind of a dream in my head a little bit, but it's a scenario. So first things first, of course, I will check the bottom of the lake, try to understand how the topography of the bottom is made. Will give me an idea of what I. It will help me to imagine something. I will put two rods with bollies and I will try to build a strategy on them. The other rod with the corn will fish not too far from the shore usually because that's what I like. And I will look for something next to the shore that attract carps, like a piece of grass, a stone, I don't know, something where I feel that the carp are going to pass by. A piece of tree, a tree, I don't know, something like that. So what happens is that the first 48 hours are going to give me some answers. It's where I'm going to understand what's going on. Are the bodies moving, not moving? What is the frequency? Is it during the day? Is it during the night? What is the average? The corn is going to do the same. Do I catch only small fish? That I catch bigger fish? Do I catch something or I catch nothing? You know what I mean? That's where I go with, and based on that, I adjust. It's at the beginning, I don't like to mix every approach. I like to do everything the same everywhere. So during the first 48 hours, I will have a couple of answers, and based on that, I know if I'm going to change how I'm going to adapt myself to have a strategy that will, I suppose, work everywhere. You know what I mean? And I go from there.
So you basically will try a few different baits, see
Um,
what goes,
I
and
will
then
say
maybe what, switch more rods to it.
yes. So it's not different baits in reality; it's different approach because the baits is part of the approach. Um, the corn is not, I don't use the corn for the corn. I use the corn because it goes with a strategy next to the shore on something that is a magnet for carp. You know what I mean? So the corn is a magnet, the spot is a magnet, everything is a magnet. So that should give me an answer extremely fast and give some action. The other one is a strategy more long term or not immediate strategy. So the bollies usually, and I don't use the bollies with the idea that I'm going to catch a carp within 2 hours. When I put some bollies, I give myself the first night to see if there is a little bit of action, and I give it 48 to 72 hours to see if I can build a spot or not. So it's more a theory than a bait by itself. It goes with the spot that I choose, with the result that I'm looking for. You know what I mean?
I hear you. So typically, what I will do at a new spot, I will try either two or completely three different hook baits. And sometimes if I have enough energy, whatever will take the first one, I will switch it to another rod and maybe fish two rods with that hook bait, but not the one that I already got the bite on. The one that I got the bite on, I will switch it to something else sometimes and try to see if the bites are following the bait or if the bites are following the location, that one particular spot where I have the rod. Because I found sometimes that, you know how it is, sometimes it's just a spot really that fishes well. Maybe you found a magic hole and that's what
Yeah.
it will be. So I'm trying to basically switch in between. But you know what else is interesting? So we're talking about the hook baits, the baits that carp finds naturally attractive or maybe just naturally familiar. Corn is the first thing that comes to our minds when we're trying to go safe, right? Realistically speaking, though, with the exception of one spot on a Wallkill River that me and James know, where there is a runoff from the fields on the other side of it, where farmers dump some corn at times. How many places have corn naturally appearing in a lake? It just doesn't happen. So I would imagine if we were often reverting to snails, some artificial worms or maybe natural worms, right? But we usually revert to corn as a safe choice. Is it the size? Is it the color? What is it?
I think in my point of view, so more competitive than the corn is the hemp. But the hemp you cannot fish with it because the problem and the good part, the hemp, the you call it hemp, right? In English, the seeds from marijuana, you call them hemp, right?
Okay, hemp seed.
Hemp seed, sorry. So the hemp seed is what is the most powerful. The problem of that is that it's so powerful that when they start to eat that, they don't eat anything else, and you cannot use them on your hook. So you feed them, they jump in front of you, they are like crazy, and you don't catch anything because there is no way for you to catch them. They are only focused and obsessed by that. Corn, the good part of corn is there is three criteria. First, the size, not too big, small. So small, very attractive. Second, the color, which is yellow, also something attractive. The third one is the SS lysine, and SS lysine is one of the components of the corn. And it's something that is very powerful on carp.
Okay, good question here from Mihai. What about tiger nuts? What do you think?
Tiger nuts, so that's very funny too, you see. It's the same story as bollies. There are places where the carp take the tiger nuts right away, and there are places where the tiger nuts you will need to feed them for a while for them to start to take the habit to like them. You know, tiger nuts is a great bait in a sense that no problem with the crayfish, no problem with the turtle. Whenever you put a tiger nuts on your hair rig and you fish, you know that it's fishing. You don't have to worry. So there is a lot of very, very good side of the tiger nuts. And one more advantage of the tiger nuts is when the carp eats them, they throw them back the same way later in the water, and other carp can continue to eat them. So there's something that is cool about that. After, it's like the bollies. I have fished in some places where you need to put some baits in the water for a couple of days before they start eating them. You know, it's
So, you know what's interesting about the tiger nuts? Last year, after the World Championships, where we used tigers heavily, very heavily in Croatia, right? But we knew that that particular venue, at least one of the two venues on which we were fishing, was popular with tiger nuts. So that was a no-brainer. However, I come back, I kind of replicate the approach on the Seneca tournament at the Carp Angler at French Open in the fall. And my mix was this time very heavy on tiger nuts. I boiled 5 kilo of tiger nuts, and to that I added, I think, 1 kilo of diced sliced tiger nuts. I boiled that up. I think 2.5 days later, after making them, with about a kilo of sugar, so they were starting to ferment. And me and my wife fished that tournament together. I baited with it. And we ended up, I think, overall, I think in the 12th place out of 38 or whatever it was. So it was a respectable place. And here was the interesting thing. The moment we baited up with this, because of, I believe, the diced tiger nuts, because the surface area was so much bigger, I got so much oil released from those tiger nuts that when I baited up, I could see this stain on the water. Absolute big stain. You literally knew where you were baiting despite big waves because the sun was hitting at a nice angle. And what happened was next was mind-boggling. It was absolute mayhem. So, Chris to the left, who ended up winning the tournament, was at the beginning catching very little, next to nothing. Proline to our right, they edged us at the end, don't get me wrong. But at the very beginning, we're having an extremely slow start. Okay? We had a very jumping start because I believe of those particles, this tiger nut and the tiger nut oil. It brought the fish into our swim. Now, Here is what happened next. If you want quick bites, or if you're fishing for the biggest weight total, like at the World Championships, it's absolutely amazing. Hindsight, the one thing I would have done differently is I would have cut off the tiger nuts after the first night instead of going one more day or 3/4 of the next day with it. Because what happened is the median size of the fish, for me, we filled up the board practically one of the first, but the median size started becoming 25 pounds, 18 pounds. Well, the median size was about 20 pounds at some point. We had some outliers, a 33 pounder, a 28, 29 pounder, but we have to get through 10 fish to get to one decent one. Mm-hmm. Whereas Chris to the left and Proline to the right, while at the beginning they did not have the fish almost at all, and they baited up with the boilies almost exclusively. I think Chris was using puck bait, if I'm correct. They had a very slow start, but they waited it out, and that's where their experience in tournament fishing, when it comes to the big 6 or a big 4 format, comes in. They started banking larger fish, less bites, but larger fish. What we had was an absolute pandemonium of bites. We had at some point numerous triples, and we had a quadruple like twice. So the tiger nuts, I believe the oil in those is so underrated because I didn't see anything else. I mean, we were relatively close to our neighbors to the left and to the right. And it was a starking difference in the fishing tactics and results. We weren't that far apart at the end, but how it started, it was just crazy what the tiger nuts did.
So, let me jump inside of that. Two things. The first one is you might have helped the people around of you to get bigger fish because the smaller fish were with you, cleaning up the area, and all the bigger fish being around and starting biting the baits on the left and on the right, and not inside of your area because the competition was too big, too many individuals, too big of a population eating. Talking about that, I want to show you something that you already know. Up, you tell me if you see it. Up, you see that?
Yes.
Look, I want the people to see that because I want to jump in the conversation. I think the people knows that now Carp Angler is also manufacturing his own baits, right? And those are tiger nuts bodies. I mean, I really, I don't want to say, blah, 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 blah. People will tell me, oh, Raphael, you fish for Carp Angler, so of course you bullshit us. So I don't want to do that. Guys, sacrifice $15, $16, I don't know, it's something like that. Take 1 kilo, not 1 pound, 1 kilo, try them. And then after, you make your choice. I really want the people to have a look at that because those are pure tiger nuts. And it's really, really, really a killer.
Raphael, thank you for that. I definitely wasn't expecting that. I just posted a link to our Tiger Nut Crunch boilies. I think that they are going to be one of the probably 2-3 top boilies in US. I mean, people will try, but look at that. And we put as much tiger nuts inside as we probably could fit while still making them, a boilie, essentially. But yes, it's phenomenal boilies.
Very good. Sorry. I advertised a little bit. It was not originally the goal of this discussion, but because we talk about that, it's worth it to know about it.
Yes. But since we are on the topic right now and we see a lot of opinions about what works, what doesn't work, catching that big fish. Let me ask you this. What do you think, based on what you saw so far in US, the number one mistake you see carp anglers making when trying to catch that elusive 40-pound carp? Is it location? Is it bait? Is it the rigs that they're using? Or maybe just lack of patience? What is it?
Hello, guys. I want you to feel better. It's not a problem that you have in the US. It's a problem worldwide. Everything is okay.
That makes us feel better.
Every angler makes the same mistake. Everyone is convinced that there is a monster in the river in front of them. And that's the biggest mistake you can do. I will say that 95% of the people are fishing a place where there is nothing inside, and they are convinced that they are going to catch a big fish. And unfortunately, the big fish never come because it just doesn't exist. And that's the biggest mistake I have seen with carp anglers. When I was very active in the carp fishing world, which is not the case anymore, but I have been for 15 years, 15 years extremely active in Europe. I have been one, I mean, I don't like to say that because it's too much, but I have been one of the top angler. I did write over 200 articles worldwide. Between 2000 and 2015, I was really, really 100% in the carp fishing world, knowing everything, every big fish, the name of every fish, everything. And the biggest mistake I have seen everywhere, absolutely everywhere, is people saying, I'm going to catch a monster, and they fish a water where there's nothing. And I look at them and I say, dude, do you understand that in 20 years you will still be there waiting for a big fish that doesn't exist? The biggest fish you have caught in this water is 22 pounds, and you dream about a 60 pounders. You cannot even catch 25 pounders after 10 years. You understand that between 25 pounder and 30 pounders, there is already a world. But between 25 pounder and a 60 pounder, it's not a world, it's a universe in between. It will never, ever happen. And a lot of people are super disappointed because there are plenty of dreams. They invest. Carp fishing is not a cheap passion. It's not something cheap. And a lot of people give themselves 100%. They give the money that they should not even give, that they should use for their family, because they are crazy about carp fishing. And at the end, they are frustrated. And they are frustrated. Why? Because they didn't start by the beginning. And the beginning is, if you want a big fish, you must fish somewhere where there is a big fish. It's that simple in reality. And that's why the mistake.
Well, we can all feel a little bit better now, okay? That we don't necessarily suck so much. We just don't have the right locations available. And frankly, I think it's very hard in the US to find, first of all, a location that holds 40s. We just simply don't see enough of them.
Let me give you an example, Raphael. And I hope I'm not talking about a huge secret. But the biggest fish I have seen in the US is a picture of a dude with a mirror carp that have scales big like that. And the guy takes it up. Even on my screen, you cannot see it. I do believe it's a fish that is between 28 and 34 kilos. Very big, fat mirror carp, right? This fish was caught, I will say, in Pennsylvania, in a lake that is smaller than a small piece of river.
I remember the picture now. Yes, yes.
You see, the guy is with, there is a seaweed everywhere behind. And he has this gigantic, and the same lake also have a very big common carp that is at 23 kilos, something like that, and a few more very big fish inside. And the lake is extremely small. You don't even have to cast to cross it. And that's what carp fishing is. So most of the people, they say, okay, I found a lake, it's huge, blah, 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 blah. There is monsters, they go fishing. First, they don't catch nothing. They go fishing there 5 times, they never catch anything. And the 6th time, they caught 18 pounders, 22 pounders. There's maybe something big, but they waste their time. And the guy that has this small stuff in front of his house, he goes with a piece of corn, he puts it inside, and boom, he catches a monster because there is only 5 fish inside, and the 5 fish are a monster. You know what I mean? That's what carp fishing is.
So, just to briefly interrupt, because I know I didn't go deep enough into this, I just wanted to jump to the interview. But Raphael, what was the book that I've seen that you've had of your own regarding carp fishing? Remember?
My own book?
Yes.
Oh, you know what I will do, Raphael? I'm sure that my wife is watching me somewhere. I hope so. Ganka, can you bring me my book, my love, please? If she hears me.
For those of you who are watching, Raphael was kind enough with his wife to invite me to his house at one point, and I went to watch his trophy room, let's call it that. And I saw his book. It was mostly carp, but also catfish related book. The pictures, the sizes of the fish, I mean, and we're talking about wild water fishing. We're not talking about stocked lakes. We are talking about wild water fishing. While we're waiting, hopefully, to see the book, and I've seen a bunch of magazines, obviously, that you wrote for. You've done it for so many years. how many, and we're talking about kilos, 30 kilo carp that you caught? Because I know, or let's talk about pounds. I think your biggest fish was, is it 78?
Yeah, 78.2 for alors mirror carp 78.2 and common carp 64.8 or something like that, I think.
And just to remind everybody, those are fish caught in the wild, not in
Yes.
stocked lakes. In the wild, 78-pound mirror.
So I will share something with you, Raphael. I wrote my book. So here is the long story. Long story short, I will say, when I was 18, when I got my first car, my dream was to catch the biggest fish in the world, the biggest carp in the world. I was absolutely obsessed. When I tell you obsessed, is my bedroom was loaded of bollies, smelling like bollies. It was my life, you know. I was friend, which I'm still am, even though I'm a little bit away from the carp fishing world, friend with what I believe to be the best carp anglers in the world. It was really it was my world. I was spending my day on the phone with all the big names of carp fishing. And it was, and when I was 24, I had a dream. My dream at 24 was to write my own book, you know, because I did believe when I was 24 that I did find a part of the secret, that I understood a part of the secret. And I didn't write my book for a reason that was very simple, is who is going to accept that a young guy, 24 years old, is going to explain to you how to fish for carp? You know what I mean? Nobody's going to accept that. And I was thinking, it's sad because I truly believe that I could write a book so technical to explain everything that I have discovered, the mechanics of. And I didn't do it because I thought that people will not buy it just because I'm a young fucker, 25 years old, who opened his big mouth and, you know what I mean? Kind of fuck you, dude. So I didn't do it. And I did wait a little bit. What happens is that in 2020, no, in 2006 or 2008, I don't remember, I became older. 2008, I had a world record for koi carp. And 2009, I caught what was at that time the second biggest fish ever caught in public water in the world, that I call Nautilus. The name of the fish was Nautilus. The first fish was caught by Marcel Rouvière in 1981 in the Yonne River. So I caught my fish 28
And
years,
how big was his fish?
37 kilos. So
37 kilos. I'm going to run
here
the
is
math right now.
37 times 2.2.
Yep. That is 81 and a half pound.
Yes, so that was
Wow.
1981 in the Yonne River by Marcel Rouvière. Marcel Rouvière did kill his fish and naturalized it. It's in a museum in France, right?
Wow.
So the second biggest fish caught after that was caught at Saint-Cassien. The name of the fish is Kevin Ellis, because it was first caught by Kevin Ellis at 33.8 kilos, and then it was caught by a guy named Dave Walker, if I'm right, in the south arm of Saint-Cassien at 35.2 kilos. Then the second biggest fish equal with it is a fish caught in the Moselle River by Emmanuel Walt a few years after. I'm not sure about the year, the exact year, because the one in Saint-Cassien is 1985. And then the third biggest fish, what became the second biggest fish, sorry, in the world was mine in 2009 at 35.5 kilos. So the biggest fish in the world at that time, known in the world in public water, was Marcel Rouvière first, my fish second, and then Dave Walker and Emmanuel Walt third together. When I caught this fish, I also decided that I was going to stop weighting my fish. In my record list, I had 24 kilos. What is 24 kilos in pounds, you know?
I'll tell you right now, 24 kilos is 52, almost 53 pounds.
53 pounds. So I had over 20 fish above 53 pounds. And I decided that I was not going to fish to weight my fish anymore, because carp fishing was a philosophy. I was not running after numbers anymore. It was the beauty of the picture, the beauty of this huge animal, you know what I mean? And because I caught my 78 pounders, that was at that time the second biggest fish in the world, something has changed and shifted in my head. I did run my whole life after what was the biggest fish in the world, something that nobody had ever seen, and stuff like that. And now that I've done it, there's nothing left to do. I mean, I caught 3 carp above 20 kilos the same night. I caught four carps for 100 kilos that I have on the mat. I have done all my dreams in terms of monsters. I have done them. So I said to myself, what is left? And the only thing left to do was that. Look. So that,
Yes, yes. That I
yeah.
think just about everybody probably have seen that picture. Look at that carrot.
So here, wait, yeah. So here is
Yep.
the story. I wrote this book, and I will tell you why. I wrote this book, so it's 400 something plus pages, right? And now I'm not 24 anymore. I'm 30 years old, and I say, okay, now that I have some credit, because when you see the record list and what I have caught in my life, my age doesn't matter anymore. Whatever is in my record list speaks for itself. And now I can write a book because people will be confident that whatever my age is, I have something to say, right? So this time, instead of making a book with only technical stuff, and I made something completely different. I say what I will do is I will write a book that is a story and not a technical book of mathematics. A story that tells you what a young guy, 12 years old, has in his head when he starts dreaming about carp fishing. He starts dreaming about the biggest fish in the world, biggest carp in the world, and what he will do to finally catch them. And this young guy, of course, it's me. But in the book, it's a story of a young guy. And I explain everything that this kid is going to do based on his dreams, everything that he's going to discover one by one, step by step, to finally be able to catch a lot of very big carp and catch the biggest one in the world. That was the
It's an amazing story. I have to say that I was immensely impressed when I saw the amount of big fish featured in those books and magazines that you are writing for. So let
last.
me ask you this: so with this big wild fish,
Uh-huh.
do you stick to simple hair rigs, blowback rigs, or do you constantly tweak mechanics as you're growing up and finally you discover this one perfect one? What rigs caught you most biggest carps?
So I used the same rig for over 25 years, I will say, and I do apologize, Raphael, because you are my sponsor, right? But I'm not a good guy for the business in terms of selling
It's
rigs.
okay. We'll fire you after the show. Don't worry.
I use a rig that is extremely simple. A rig, a hook, a liner, kind of, how much is that? 10 inches, 8 inches of braid,
Okay.
and that's it.
So
Because,
simple hair rig.
yes, because I don't believe in it. I mean, not that I don't believe in it. The air rig in my strategy of my vision of how I fish for carp doesn't matter. It has no importance at all. It's if you fish for one fish in a place that is super complex in the winter, and I will agree that you might need to have some thoughts about it. The way I fish is based on how you pre-bait, how you bait the spot that you have in front of you. How do you make sure that the carp recognize your bait, lose their stress, and eat? As I told you, when I fish, I have two strategies. One short-term, very quick on the shore with corn, on a spot where I do believe that there is a magnet for carp. And my other one is built on a strategy 48 to 72 hours with bodies. The 48 to 72 hours with bodies doesn't matter. The hook that I use doesn't matter, because what matters is the carp eat, lose their stress, get more and more confidence, become very confident, eat more and more, until a moment where they become crazy. So usually what happens when I fish is first day I catch three, let's imagine 3 carp. Okay. The next day during the daytime I catch one. Next night I catch 3 or 4. Next day 2, and then in one shot, you don't know why, I take 25 in a row. and then the spot is dead.
So
That's the way
so
I fish.
so that's an interesting approach. I don't disagree with it. The only thing I would add, I suppose.
I'm sorry, I want to show you that because I don't know.
Wow,
That's the night of my 23rd birthday. You know, I was
wow.
20 years old,
You
and
look
it was
like a
exactly,
baby over there.
yes, it was crazy, a crazy, crazy night. And as you can see here, the three carp that you have here are all big guys. There is 20 point something kilo, 21 and 23 kilos. I caught them all the same night, plus other fish that were below. There is another one that was 40, another one that was probably 38, and two or three fish that were 25 pounders the same night. It
That's
was
amazing.
the night of my birthday. It was crazy, and I stayed 4 days. And during these 4 days, I caught six fish, and that's the best one because I got a bite. And my father came to visit me, and he told me, "Is it big?" And it was not fighting. I told him, he told me, "Give me the rod." Let me. Okay, I gave the rod to my dad, and that's the carp that my dad caught. Look at
Oh
that.
wow, look at that beauty. Look at the belly on that thing.
Wow, this one was a fucking big one, dude. Look at
Wow.
that.
Isn't you reminded me when your father is asking if it's a big one when I caught that 30 kilo in France last year.
Uh huh.
I will never forget my wife. So now we have a running joke. So imagine this: I have a 30 kilo carp, 66 pounds on the line. I am netting it. It's coming up to the surface. My wife is up top while I'm in the water in the waders. We have that video. And I'm asking her, how is it? Is it big? No, it's not that big. So to this date, she called while he was still in the water. I get it. She called a 30 kilo carp not big. So I tell her ever since then, I don't want to ask what you think about other things, small or big, if you consider 30 kilo carp small.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, but about the baits, right? So rigs, I mean rigs.
Mm-hmm.
For me, all things being equal, I will just go with a hair rig. Yeah, I mean there are a few versions of it, but they are virtually doing the same thing most of the time. The only time I will revert to a pop up or a pop up on a Ronnie rig or even a wafter is if there are some extenuating circumstances, whether it's a deeper silt maybe, where the bottom bait is not going to be visible very well. Or maybe there are a lot of leaves and debris on the bottom that will be
Yeah.
primarily covering the bait, the rig. That's when I will switch over to something else. But all things being equal, boilies on a hair rig, or
Yep.
at least bottom baits on a hair rig will be it. But since we're talking about those approaches, so I've heard you about wild water fishing strategies. Does it change when it comes to the tournaments, right? Like you're known for your specimen angling. But if
Yep.
you were fishing an American tournament, which you did a few times in the past,
Yep.
how does your approach change? Does it change? I know that let's say a big six or big four tournament like on Seneca River, big fish
Yep.
hunting versus numbers game. What do you do? What's the approach?
So you see, here I unfortunately I don't have enough experience to really give an advice. I will say that like that. In terms of fishing for big fish, yes, I can talk about it. I have done that my whole life, and I do believe that I, to a certain extent, know what I'm talking about. But for the tournament, look, I fished how many tournaments in my life? The first tournament I did in my life was at Madin, the World Carp Classic in 2000. I got one bite in 4 days, and it was during a storm where we had to take the rods out, put the rods, all crazy story. So I woke up in the morning, and the rod that I did cast in front of me, kind of 80 yards in front of me, was 80 yards in the middle of the spot of the neighbors. So the fish took the bait, went over there, and unhooked. Actually, the guy who won was Simon Norton with a 21.5 kilo, only one
Wow.
fish. So if I was lucky enough and I knew that I had a fish, maybe I would have been, you don't know, but I didn't. So that's the first time. Second time I fished a kind of tournament or something where there is a lot of anglers was the CNL Tour in Sauresti in Romania. Here, I do believe that I'm the second guy out of everyone, the second record list out of everyone. So that went pretty well with a lot of very big fish, a lot of big common carp. Then after that, I fished 4 times in the US, 4 tournaments. So I did 2 times the head French tournament in the Seneca River, and I fished twice the tournament in the Connecticut River next to Midtown. What can I tell you about that? I never won 4 times, so that's already a good indication. Here is my story. The first time I fished the Seneca River, I fished only with bollies, 24 millimeters, big bollies, right? I caught maybe 40 fish. Out of the 40 fish, the biggest one was 21 pounds. I fished only with bollies. Okay. The second time I fished the Seneca River was this year, and I had a different approach where I fished directly with fake corn, right? I started with bollies and fake corn, with both. I had way more action on the fake corn for the same average as the bollies, so I went directly on fake corn everywhere.
Did you say that you were catching the same size fish?
Hello, wait, I will tell you. Yeah, that's what is interesting. Is that when I started this year, I fished 24 hours, two rods with bollies, one rod with the fake corn. Always the same theory, right? The rod with the bollies gave me 3 or 4 fish, and the 3 or 4 fish were all between 15 and 20 pounds. The rod on the fake corn for the first 24 hours brought me 35 fish, same average as the bollies, you know. I say, okay, I put everything on fake corn. Then now, in 2 days and a half, I'm over 100 fish, like a crazy. And all the fish that I caught are exactly at the same average than what I caught the very first time I came, only fishing with 24 millimeter bollies. So maybe I was wrong, maybe I was right. I was probably wrong, otherwise I didn't win anything. So it means that I was not able to catch whatever was required to win the tournament or to do something. And what happened is after 2 days and a half, something has changed, and the current did change in the river. And from there, I didn't get any bites for the next 1 day and a half. I went back on bollies. I caught 3 fish, and the same. The fish were 15 to 22 pounds, something like that. So I caught the exact same fish, fishing only with big bollies for the full tournament and fishing with the fake corn. That's why it's difficult for me to have an idea about it. You know?
Yeah, so I mean, I think it goes back to what you said before about the location. If this is what's at your location at the moment, that those are the size of fish that you have, that's what you're going to catch. It also, I think, proves a little bit the theory that I mentioned earlier that if there is competitive feeding because there's a large stock of carp, like in Seneca River, I mean, they're known for this, right?
Yeah.
They're going to jump on whatever they see because they have to be more competitive. They cannot be as selective as a trophy fish that is one per God knows how many acres of water. Okay, that it can pick and choose what it eats next and how cautious it is. So I think it drills down to the point that competitive feeding, like on Seneca River, they'll take just about whatever. But I do think that because of how Chris and Proline basically whooped my ass at the tournament with their approach, while I was catching more fish, they ended up catching more bigger fish. Because they skipped particles much more than I did. I don't know if they skipped it altogether on Proline side, but they definitely went to big boilies much sooner than I did. One more question I wanted to answer,
Oh,
maybe for.
let me tell you something. When I fished twice the tournament on the Connecticut River, it was very different. I fished only with bollies. So every carp that I caught was with bollies. Both times I caught a lot of fish, so it was not too bad. Didn't catch anything really big. I think 26 for the biggest or something like that. What is true is that I tried with corn there too. And the rod I tried with corn, here now I was catching carp that were kind of 1 pound, you know, really stuffed sausages like that. I said, whoa, I stopped right away. So here I saw a real difference between the particles and the bodies. And the fact that is pretty funny in reality is that the first time I fished the Connecticut River, I really caught some really, really big fish. A 35, 40 pounders.
Nice.
I caught a big tail. and I caught all of that on corn actually. So it's difficult. And I caught that in the cove where everyone thought that there is nothing inside, and they were laughing at the fact that I was fishing in the cove, you know. So
Right. So this is important to mention because I think between New York and Connecticut, everybody fishes the Wethersfield Cove. Okay.
yeah,
At one point or another, everybody fished Wethersfield Cove. I
mhm.
remember when fishing the Connecticut tournament that Wethersfield Cove was not exactly a prized peg to have for the tournament unless the water level was very high on the river and it was really ripping, then the fish would be crossing over under that bridge, going into the cove and seeking basically refuge over there. But other than that, it was not a prized location. And you had that massive fantail that was what, 29 pounds, 30?
I don't know because I don't weigh them, but the fantail was cool. But the two common carp was bigger. One of the fish is around 40 pounds. The other one is around 35. Two common carp, one black, one very light color, and the fantail. I caught them all the same day. And
That's insane. Fish that size out of Wethersfield Cove. I will
cool.
tell everybody who's in that area. The spot is so known. There's no spot burning over there. Wethersfield Cove. Wethersfield Cove is an amazing spot. Worth giving a shot. You had some amazing fish over there. I fished over there. Didn't have that big of a fish, but it was still very fun and easy fishing relatively over there. Very comfortable. You can fish, right by the parking lot. You can go by the bridge. By the bridge is a very good spot over there. That entire bridge that connects the river with whether it's at the entrance, at the mouth of the river, or on the cove side. I think it's a phenomenal spot.
If you can resist to the mosquitoes, yeah.
If you can resist the mosquitoes. Listen, that was talking about resisting things. Okay, so how do you do it? How do you stay confident during 72 hours, let's say a tournament, where it's not exactly going how you want it to go? You don't have that big fish yet. We're not getting any younger, so staying awake at nighttime is becoming more and more difficult. What's the trick over there? A bunch of Red Bulls, something more fun, watching TV, or what do you do? How do you stay motivated for 72 hours when it doesn't go right?
I'm not 20 anymore, So I will be honest with you. When I was 20, a lot of things more fun. And anyway, I will be honest with you. I have a big mouth, so I'm sorry, but 78 hours without catching anything didn't happen so often. And if that happened, I would have done something else. Now that I'm older, I work very hard. 78 hours without catching anything, it's a perfect opportunity to sleep. So, so I sleep and I don't complain.
I have to agree. If the alarm wakes me up, let it be.
Oh shit! Especially big pile of weed that is on the connecting road that catch your road at 2 o'clock in the morning. Beep 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 beep. Oh,
Shit. Jo- Johnny says that he works night shifts, so he's good. I don't know if that's how it works. Johnny, I worked back in the day, many moons ago. I was young. I was working overnight shifts basically for a living, doing security and fire safety. I got fired from the jobs multiple times because no matter what the hell I would do during the daytime, I can sleep all day. Comes that 3 a.m., and I just cannot stay awake. Now, fishing is different. Okay, I'm excited I can do this, but working overnight, God, I just couldn't do it. One time, and that's the only time I didn't get fired because I was trying to be slick. They knew what happened, but just a little side story. I put the sunglasses on while I was sitting and working security with my eyes closed behind, and I was just perfectly still over there because I was sleeping. So that's the only time I didn't get fired. But yes, working overnight, not exactly the same to me as fishing overnight. I just cannot stay up. Listen, for those who are still chasing that trophy fish, whatever
Yeah.
trophy means to them, 30 pound, 35, 40 pound, whatever is lurking, they believe over there.
Uh-huh.
What's the one piece of advice that you can give them that they can do the next time out? The one thing that they can start doing the next time out to improve it?
Exactly what I told you when we started this conversation. First, make sure that you fish a place where there is a 30 pounder. Because if there is none, you will never catch any. If there are many around, you will catch one. It's a matter of time. It's a matter of what you are doing. If you can catch a lot of fish, not a lot of fish. But if you fish a place with many 30 pounders and you know how to get bites, you will just have to adapt in your approach with baits or something like that, but you will catch it. If you fish a place where there is none, whatever you do, you will never catch any. That's all it is. That's the biggest secret. It's where it really starts. Fish a place where there is a 30 pounder ready.
So I have one more question for you.
Yeah.
What's the one, given that you have this French background, okay, and French are known for such an amazing, culinary, creations, is there some French bait that you've tried, that you know that it works, that you can swear by, that American anglers would be laughing at until it puts a 50, 60 pounder on the mat? Give me something French.
You're not going to give me naked on the camera. No French bait there.
No French bait. No, not even some sort of a cheese. Nothing.
Oh, no. No, really seriously, I don't think there is much difference. The only big difference is that the US is still pretty new. There is not so many carp anglers, even though the population of carp anglers is growing, and that's really what it is. And there's not enough informations. People, they all focus on the same places. I know a lot of people that are fishing the same place. Whenever there is a big fish that they caught somewhere, they all go there. So there is no. Let's go back to the story of the lake house. If tomorrow you can have at a minimum 20 anglers on the lake who stay at least 1 week fishing only with bollies, and that for 2 years, then you will find out that the lake house is absolutely not what you think about. Because you are going to have data that you don't even imagine, with fish that live on certain sector that doesn't move, with fish that will need a lot of time before they are going to start eating bollies for real. And the couple of fish that are known on the lake house to be at 40 plus, you will find out that I guarantee you on the lake house there is a fish above 50 without any problems. There is probably
I'm
many
sure.
fish above 40. Yeah, of course. It's just that what you catch is what we call the mug fish. There are fishes that jump right away on food available. So, for example, the swim where you fish, many of the big fish are known, caught many, many times. There is many others. But because we always fish the same, so remember when I came, I was looking at the way you were fishing, where obviously you have result fishing. What is kind of a high? I don't know. You see that in English. So you have the bed of the rivers, and you go up on the high spot here in 4 meters of water. Your 3 rods are fishing that kind of 80 to 110 yards from the shore, pretty much in front of you. And when I did take the time to understand the swim in front of you, I found stuff way more interesting on the other shore, way more interesting in 2 meters of water. I found something also on again, the boat
Yes,
with the leg
you
up,
you
the
you
guy
found you found a lot of new friends by fishing on the other side of the lake.
the fucking guy with his boat and his leg up on his boat.
So
I take my
for
marker.
for our audience, so they know, so Raphael had this brilliant idea that he wanted to fish basically 200 yards away on the other side of the lake,
Yeah,
not realizing that he's going to make a lot of new friends with the bass fishermen, kayakers, and whatnots on the other side. Because what would happen is, just so he can find the spot later, he had a floating marker on top of the water, and he really made a lot of new friends over there when they started picking up those markers from the other side. Okay, and wondering what. Imagine old lady on a kayak picking up the floating marker and wondering what it is. But nothing was as funny as he had one placed right around the edge of the channel, I believe,
yeah,
where it's floating. Then it's really deep water underneath that, about 40 feet or something like that. And so it's floating at a certain height, right? And it's tied up, locked. And so then this brilliant guy is grabbing that marker, swimming with it, I think, on a kayak. Okay. And then when we yell out to him to leave it the hell alone, basically, whatever it is that we told him, he politely drops it, but he drops it in the deep spot.
Yeah.
So now the whole thing goes under the water and becomes a floating snag until you luckily were able to retrieve it somehow under the water.
Imagine the stuff. He put the marker 50 yards away from where I was on your spot, and I go with the boat, and I'm able to find the marker 2 meters, so it's 7 feet under the surface. I see the light. I see the color of the marker, and I was able to catch it with a small rod. Terrible, terrible. The lake house, guys. Leave it to Raphael. It's only for him. Don't go there. Don't go there. It's terrible. All these people, they come with their kayak. They take your marker. They leave it 30 yards after. You scream at them. A fucking guy 10 yards after, take the marker again. Oh, dude. I understand that I have a strong accent, but my English is not that bad. Please. No. So,
This.
to forget these people, look what I just found. Look at this one. That's a magazine I wrote for in Germany. And that's a fish from America.
Oh, wow. Look at that. Carp
Yeah.
mirror.
Carp Angler, it's a magazine, a German magazine I wrote for, and a lot of cool American guys.
But this doesn't count. The magazine is only for mirror carp, and yours is a common over there.
That's it. So yeah, you're absolutely right. That was a crazy story. But to go back to the original discussion we had, when I fished the swim on the lake house, I found 3 spots. One that is obvious, that was on the right, remember, with the big
yes.
So that's obvious. The 2 others, there is one that is pretty much the same as what you fish on the other side, a little bit higher, so which I believe to be a little bit better in the concept, and the one on the other side, which is, I'm sure, a killer. And if everyone was fishing this lake, 20 people every week for 1 week, fishing properly with bodies and everything, I guarantee you, America will become something completely different. Completely different. Because there is a huge potential, maybe not the fish the same as Europe. Let's not make the mistake. In Europe, the population is different. The race of the carp is different. But when we talk about fish between 40 and 60 pounders, I'm sure that there is some stuff that we don't know. The problem is that there is not enough pressure on the water, not enough anglers, not enough baits, not enough data. And that's where the problem comes from, I think.
No, I think that's what it is. Well, it's been absolutely an amazing time over there. That's a whole nother show, but that we could literally do about fishing at the lake house. Sam is asking a question. Are you ever going back to New York City to fish? Where do you mean, Sam? New York City where? Because
I know what he's talking about. I think he's talking about the movie that I made, Inside of Manhattan, right? Am I right, Sam? I did fish a lot of lakes in New York City. If you start thinking that Brooklyn, Queens, and all of that are New York City. But if you talk about Manhattan, you talk about the lake in Central Park. Am I right?
Oh, you fished the Central Park? You see, yeah. While we're waiting for the answer, I'm like, I am yet to fish in the Central Park.
Cool Central Park. Funny.
I don't know. You know what always turns me off? I don't know. As much as I love getting in front of all of you people and doing something public, when I'm fishing, I hate having the idea of 50 people behind me looking. You know what? I don't know why, because I don't mind it at the World Championships when we are fishing. I have people with the cameras nonstop behind me. Reps of other teams seeing what we're doing, recording. So the pressure is really there. But I feel worse thinking of going to Central Park with a bunch of Karens behind me. Hey, what are you fishing for? A whale.
I will tell you. Central Park has very, very good sides and awful sides. We are going to start by the awful ones. The first thing that is awful in Central Park are the rats. There is really a lot of rats. If you leave some baits on the floor, they come. So that's the first thing. The second stuff that is terrible in Central Park is that, as you say, there is all these people that come that have questions. Time to time, a guy that come and insult you or become aggressive. Why do you touch the fish? Why do you bother them? Blah, blah, blah. So you have that. The next stuff that is terrible is the turtle. There's so many turtles, so much turtle in Central Park. It's non-stop. Beep, beep, beep. They touch your lines. It's non-stop. And the worst things in Central Park are the boats. There is tons of tourists on the boats that come even touch your roads with their hand from their boats. It's you have to be strong, you know. The lake is very shallow. I guess that the deepest is probably 3 feet somewhere, something like that. So it's annoying. The boat is really annoying, something really annoying. After, I will tell you the truth. Imagine, I'm French, I come from France, so I'm fishing in New York City. New York City, when you are French as a kid, it's only the movies. You know what I mean? Those big towers with those lights, these big buildings. And now I'm in the middle of that, and I'm catching some fucking carp in the middle of Central Park, dude. It's crazy. It's crazy. The concept is crazy. Plus, Central Park have something that is cool is that there is a lot of common carp, and there is a small population of mirror inside. Most of them are beautiful fish. Mirror, linear carp, fully scaled, you know, stuff like that. There is a couple of koi's and a couple of fantail. So there is some surprises in Central Park. The only stuff is you have to be strong. You have to know that when you go there, the turtle, you have a beep every 15 seconds because of a turtle. You have a guy who walks on your roads every 30 minutes. There is a rat that walks on your foot every 2 minutes. And there's a guy with his boat that is going to be in the middle of your lines every time you are going to catch a fish. Whenever you are able to live with that, then it's cool to go fishing in Central Park. Really. And you have to find a spot to park your car. That's a good one too. Central Park.
Yeah, good luck with that.
I will say that if you don't find, worst case scenario, you park your car in a parking, and the parking in Central Park's $40 minimum for the day. So you have to come very early. You have to be lucky that one guy go to work, you steal his spot really quickly in one of the streets where you have the right to park until noon. At noon you have to change the place. But it's Manhattan, you know. But it's what do I see?
we're getting ready. We're getting ready. But yeah, no. Talking about the Central Park, I don't know. I'll consider it. But I'm still warming up to the idea.
We go together.
Yeah, we could do that. So what? So you can catch more fish again?
It's well, you take my rods.
Oh, then you're gonna catch on my rods and make me feel even worse.
I don't touch any rods. I just
Listen. The only time you did something really nice to me, I'm gonna tell everybody. Okay, when you did something really nice, at least. So the nicest thing you have ever done for me was declining the invitation, or should I say canceling at the last minute, my lake house invitation when I invited you to come again and fish with me because I figured that the fish are going to be really on at that time. And the time you didn't come is the time when I cut the state record. Because I do believe if you came that weekend, yes, if you came that weekend, it would have happened again. You know, a friend of mine would have cut the state record that I was targeting. Imagine, it happened a year earlier with Brian, right? Where Brian was coming to fish and he, of course, caught it. And I am sure this would have happened here. And the worst thing is, this guy probably wouldn't even care because he has too many 70s and 60s and 50s to worry about some measly 45 over there.
Let's not take a picture. Let's just put it back in the water.
Exactly. Let me not even tell him. Oh man, no, that was the nicest thing you could have done. So instead of a body going missing somewhere in the lake, we remain very good friends.
Yeah.
No, listen, this was an absolute blast to have you. People, what we're going to do is, if you have any questions for Raphael, for me, anything regarding the interview, post your questions in the comment section on Facebook or even on YouTube. We are also streaming to YouTube Live at the same time, and we will answer them. Now,
Yeah.
I wanted to thank you, for sharing, really what is a wealth of knowledge, but more importantly, coming from a place that can give an advice. Because you know what? You know why? Because you're old now. You're no longer a 23-year-old kid catching monsters. Okay? Now you are 40-year-old catching monsters. Okay? So, no, but listen, with all seriousness, I think everybody appreciates the wealth of knowledge that you share with us. We have to do this again. We
Yeah,
have to do this again. We pick some other topics,
yeah.
something different, but we have to do this again. This was absolutely phenomenal. So, Raphael, I'll catch you after the live stream. We're going to have a raffle, the giveaway, in a moment. We probably should ask our guest not to partake because knowing his magnet for anything fishy, he will probably win this reel anyway. Okay, that's just him. Um, but Raphael, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. I'm sure I speak for everybody listening,
My
and it's
pleasure.
been a pleasure.
Something very important, Raphael. I want to
Yes,
share something with everyone, and I hope you will let me say that. It's that I want everyone to understand. I fish for carp for 25, maybe more, very seriously for at least 28 years, right? I spent 15 years looking for the biggest carp in the world, and I took it more than seriously because I have been very honestly convinced that I was born for that. I was born to meet with this fish, to fish for it, to think about it. Carp fishing is something that did more than matter in my life. It has been my life for many years, and I want you guys to understand that originally I had a lot of opportunities because it's part of what I have done. And when I met Raphael, I chose to go fishing for Raphael because I listened to his project and I believed in his project. I want you guys to understand I'm not someone looking for bullies, rods, and stuff like that. I'm someone looking for my passion, for my dreams, because I have seen a lot of things, way more than you could imagine, because carp fishing in Europe has nothing to do with America. Carp fishing in Europe, it's huge, it's a monster. It's like bass fishing in the US. You know what I mean? So when I spoke to Raphael 1.5 years ago, I listened to his project, his vision, what he wanted to do. Of course, he's the owner of a company. He's like everyone. He has to put food on the table and he has to have a roof above his head. And that's for all of us that goes to work or does everything or have any kind of initiative in our life. And that's normal. But the goal, what Raphael wants to create, he deeply wants to develop carp fishing in the US for this passion to find its place, and to exist, right? And to exist in the US, it means giving access to everyone, to the knowledge, to the product, to gears, to everything. And I know, because I know Raphael personally on the side, not only on the TV, not only in the middle of the polemics or whatever, internet and stuff like that. I know the dude, his wife and his kids and stuff like that. So I know that he does that for the right things that are first to feed his family, because we are all the same. We all have to feed our family. And he does that because he wants carp fishing to exist in the US deeply. And he moves his ass to try to make what the others are not capable to make. So what happened is the other companies or fools may have a problem with Raphael because he breaks the prices. He try to, it's what it is. But when he breaks the prices, you have one owner of a company that is not happy, but you have 50 carp anglers that are very happy because now they do have access to something that they were not able to have before. That's the story. That's what matters. That's what matters for me because it's my passion and I want people to enjoy carp fishing as much as I did enjoy it in my life and as much as what I still enjoy a lot, you know. So one thing very important, guys, that's the tournament range from Raphael. As I go back to what we were saying before, and one more time, it's not really. I'm not here to really advise, make an advertisement. I'm here to say the truth. Those are strawberry bodies, part of the tournament range from Raphael. Those bodies are available for $10 per kilo, if I'm right. You can
that's
have
right.
that per kilo, not per pound, per kilo. 1 kilo is 2.2 pounds, right? And things like that are an opportunity for all the carp anglers here because it will give you access to a way of fishing that you didn't have before. The prices are more affordable. Lucky you guys, you are all American, living in America, working in America, which give you access to a lot of money. Whatever, even we are not happy with what we have, it's still a lot of money compared to a lot of countries in the world. So that's it. As Raphael thanks me for the time that I spent here, I thanks Raphael because he moved his ass for the right things to try to give to the people the access to fishing for carp in the best condition, the right way, and not just a little bit. So, Raphael, on the behalf of all the carp anglers, thank you very much for the effort that you do, because all of that, people need to understand that it's a lot of time, it's a lot of work, it's a lot of risk, it's an investment in terms of a lot of things, and even though people don't see that, it's really what it is, you know. So, thank you, my dear.
Raphael, thank you so much. You're too kind, but I appreciate everything that you do, not just for us but for the community. And again, I mean, we'll talk soon privately, but it's been absolute pleasure, and I'm speaking on behalf of probably everybody who was listening or who will be listening to the replay of this. Thank you again for joining. I will catch up with you soon, and we're going to schedule another one together. Thank you so much, and everybody, raffle time. But thank you, Raphael, so much on behalf of everybody.
Enjoy your giveaway time, because now there is even more to get. Thank you, guys.
And
bye.
Now we're moving to the raffle. Thank you, Raphael. Thank you for joining.
Bye-bye.
All right, everybody. That was amazing. That was a great interview. I couldn't have had a better one. All right, so everybody is waiting, and it's giveaway time. So again, we are going to do a raffle in a few minutes for this amazing K-Carp from Italy, 10,000 size carp reel, front drag. I love that loud click. There's something about this loud drag that I just absolutely love. So again, this is the one. It comes with a spare spool. The other spare spool is black color. So I haven't even checked. I wonder if it's a deep spool. But it looks like a solid reel. I haven't tried it. I will actually, whoever wins this, I will ask that you give me some feedback in a couple of months if you get to try it, to know, to tell me how it works. So now let's go over the rules of the giveaway. Okay, let's go over the rules. Keep in mind that you might not be seeing all the comments on the screen because we are also streaming on YouTube at the same time. Okay, so we will officially announce the winner right after we wrap up the live stream. Okay, but the rules, let me post them and let me update them. So we will do what we did in the past, right? Where you will pick a number between 1 and 1,000. Not yet. I will tell you when to start. At that point, you're going to, Johnny, I'm going to hit you. When I tell you to start in a few minutes, you're going to simply pick a number between 1 and 1,000. And you can only pick one number. Just one. And then I'm going to give everybody about a minute or so to complete it, decide what number you want. If two people will post the same number, the person who posted it first in our chat will be the one that will claim that number. And if that's what happens, that's the only circumstance under which you would post a second number. But I don't want you to put twice two different numbers randomly without that happening, or we're going to have to disqualify you. So you can post only one number, okay? So now, with that being said, what else? We will randomly, obviously, show you the spinning wheel that the random number will be picked as the winning number. The person who will be the closest to that number without going over that number will win. Short of hitting that exact number, let's say number 500 is the winning number. If you hit 499 and somebody hits 501, 499 will win because 501 will be disqualified because it went over the winning number. Okay, so you have to hit the number or below. So that's where it gets interesting when deciding to go for a higher number. How high do you go? Because if you go over, it's not going to count. So that's what makes it very interesting. Let me post those rules briefly in the comments and on the screen. Okay. And let me post it here. Okay. I have to adjust everything. I'm having a hard time because that's a lot of text. Let me try this again. There you go. So those are the rules, okay? And so I will just repeat. We're going to pick a random number after I type it in, and then I tell you to start. And I will say at some point, stop, and then we're going to go to the other screen, and we will run the magic wheel, okay? So let me make sure that I am prepared, to say the least. Okay, I am prepared there. And hold on. Nope, Justin is right. I didn't say anything yet. Elijah is funny. He's picking 800,000. Okay, hold on, everybody. Now, you can post your numbers between 1 and 1,000 in the comments. Between 1 and 1,000, post your numbers now. Okay, so I'm going to give you a minute or so. And pick only once. Do not post more than once. Unless you're going to be absolutely certain that somebody else picked that number before you. I'm looking for duplicates myself. If I see any, I'll try to give you a heads up. Jamie picked 666. How fitting. So we have one number that is entered twice. Johnny Spain and Justin Keaton entered 776. Johnny Spain comment appears first. So Justin, you have to pick another number. Justin Keaton, you have to pick another number. 776 is already taken. So again, Justin Keaton, you have to pick a new number. That 776 has been picked already by Johnny Spain before you, based on the way the comments with the numbers appear. Okay, I got you, Justin. I see your number. This is going to be interesting. I'll give you another moment in case somebody didn't. Brian says, how much is the value of the reel? I don't know. I don't know. We ordered half a dozen or more reels from Italy. And I randomly started opening them up, with this being the first one for today. So to answer you, I don't know. I don't know if this is a $200 reel, $400 reel. I don't know. Johnny says they're trying to get his number. Yes, they did. Justin was trying to get it. Oh, man. But, guys, you know what? This stream today was absolutely banging. This was the best live stream we have done in a very long time, including some crazy ones at the very beginning. Okay. Okay, in a moment, I'm going to announce that the raffle entry stops now. I just posted the message. The raffle entry stops now. So we closed all the entries. Okay? So that's it. Raffle entry stopped now. So now what we're going to do, we have to find the winning number, right? All right, so let me see if we can do this. Let me just confirm. All right, so I'm going to switch the screen, okay? All right, so I'm switching the screen. As you see, we have the selector between 1 and 1,000. I'm going to maximize this. And all right, is everybody ready for the magic spin? Who is going to win this baby? And whichever one of you wins it, please let me know after you use it what you think about it. So, and by the way, message me privately after either you notice that you're the winner or make sure you're waiting for the message from me. All right, so is everybody ready? All right. All right, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. $918. 918. Wow. 918. So I am trying to see who was the closest to it. 918. Without going over. That's the interesting part. Ooh, Elijah Moore is at 901. The question is anybody else between 901 and 918? Still looking, still looking. I don't think so. I'm going to double check after the stream, but it seems like Elijah Moore is our winner. Yay! Congrats, brother. Again, this is pending verification, but I think Elijah Moore is the new proud owner of this K-Carp carp fishing reel, front drag, size 10,000, with this beautiful, I don't know if it's because I'm missing the carp fishing so much because of this winter, but I love that click. So 918 was the winner, and 901 is probably the closest one. So everybody, if you have any questions for me, drop them right now. We're going to make another live stream with, guess what, another fishing reel that we're going to raffle off. I think I have half a dozen of those. So for the next several live streams, I think we're going to do those giveaways. Any questions about anything that we've discussed today? Any questions for Raphael or for me? Please leave a comment. We're going to try to address all of them, whether it's on Facebook or on YouTube. It's been an absolute pleasure, guys. This has been one of the best live streams I think carp fishing scene has experienced in a long time. And I'm not talking about me, I'm talking about our guest that we had, Raphael Biagini, absolute legend when it comes to catching big carp. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm hoping to catch you online shortly. And again, thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and it's all mine. Okay? Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see you in the comments section. Have a good night.